tonight's demonstration, as I said, is going to be about working with an angle brush to do poinsettias. All right, so for holiday painting, if you like to do your own greeting cards, if you like to paint poinsettias on glass, any of those, the angle brush is a really nice tool to use to get some very pretty poinsettia petals. And then also the leaves look really good with those too. Okay, so let's get overhead and get started. I'm going to pull this down, bring it over, and we're going to switch to our overhead camera. There we go. Okay, so this is what I'm going to be sharing with you tonight. You saw the picture, I hope, that I put up. And I have two different size angle brushes. This is the 5/8. This is from Donna's Signature Collection of one-stroke brushes, and this is a 3/4 inch. And so I'm going to be using the 3/4 inch to do the stem and the leaves, and then the 5/8 to do the petals for the poinsettia. I love this look, the way this poinsettia looks, right? A lot of times we do the petals and they're two-sided and they're really wide, but I really like, and there are poinsettias out there that look like this, where they have the gaps between and they're very thin going into the center, and then you have all the center, I don't know what those are called, they're part of the stamen, I guess. Little berries that come up, or not, they're not berries, but they're just round little nodules that come up out of the center. I'm sure one of you is going to tell me what it's called, but anyway, I just love the way these turned out with using this angle brush, and I think you are too, where you're going to get this very simple wiggle on two sides, very nicely done. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to put out my colors here. I've got some apple red, right? And you can use any of the reds you like. We like the apple red these days because it is a brighter red. It's got more blue tones to it than some of the others have more of an orangish tone to them. All right. And then I have some berry wine, of course, for our secondary darker color red. All right. And then I have some greens. So that's not the green that I wanted. I grabbed the wrong one. That was thicket. I want sap green. Sap's got a stronger, darker value. All right. And I'm going to put out some, this is bright green. All right. So it's always nice to use some different tones of greens when you're doing different types of plants. We tend to work with the citrus green and sap green in a lot of our one-stroke painting because that's the palette that Donna likes to use. And the citrus green is a nice neutral light tone green that has a bright color to it and blends well with dark and light values. So, and then I put some daffodil yellow out here as well. And I'm going to get a little bit of floating medium. Hopefully won't need much of that tonight. Okay, so working with this, and I'm just going to set this over here for now so you can see my palette as I load it. And I've got my camera tipped a little bit, so let's do that. There we go. All right, so I'm going to start first with the larger brush, the 5/8, or excuse me, the 3/4. I'm going to dampen this, put it on my paper towel, and we're going to load it with our leaf colors. Now, remembering that with an angle brush, you have a toe and a heel, okay? And so what you put on the toe, the color you want to put on the toe is the color that you want to see on, in this case with the leaf, it's going to be on the inside of the leaf. So that's going to be our darker green, okay? When we're doing the load for the poinsettia itself, we're actually going to put our lighter color because that's going to go on the outside, okay? So let's load this. I want the dark green, as I said, on my toe. Haha. The toe of my brush. And the lighter green is going to go on the heel. Okay. So we're going to just come right between those two colors, load those on here. Got some dry muck right there. Get rid of that. Okay, so that's the bright green. Now remember, when you're loading, you really want to push hard both ways so that you're getting 2/3 up. I think my bright green's gotten kind of pasty. You're getting 2/3 up the bristles of the brush. You're pushing hard this way and this way, okay? 2/3 up the bristles of the brush, and then just before you go to stroke, you want to get just a little more paint on the outside on both sides, so you go flat, flat, okay? Now, if I want to add medium to my brush, maybe I'm just going to dip into a little bit of floating medium and work that into my colors, both sides, back and forth. I think I need a new bottle of bright green. This is kind of pasty. Okay, so then flat and flat, and we're ready to go. All right, so first thing I want to do, let's come down here just a little bit closer. I'm going to pull my stem for my flower. So right here, I'm going to touch on that chisel edge, push down, so my handle's straight up and down, and I'm applying pressure, about moderate pressure, and pull and lift. And you get a nice fine point with the toe of this angle brush, because when you lift away, the heel lifts automatically and it just drags those few bristles behind. Okay, so I'm going to put a couple of leaves on here. I'm going to put one over here, right, and that's going to go off in this direction, and then I'm going to have one that's coming facing toward me. So I want the stem in first to come behind it. Now I don't want it exactly the same height as this one, so let's put this one a little bit higher. There we go. Okay. All right, so now what I want to do is to stroke this leaf. This is the one that's going to be facing me. So we're going to come from this side and this side, all right, and then we're going to pull that stem right into the center of the leaf. So my light color is on the outside edge of my brush. Let's just kind of smooth that out a little bit. And we're going to give some wiggles out and in, and then stand to the tip. Now I'm dry. It's that bright green in my bottle is pasty, like I said. So let's restroke this. I added some more medium to my brush. We're going to go out and in, out and in, and stand up. It's a similar leaf to a holly leaf, but they're wider, okay? And then over here, let's turn this so I can end on the right angle. So it helps if I can see where I'm going. So out and in, out and in, out and in, and stand up. Still lost my bright green, so let's add some more medium and start where it went dry, okay? There we go. All right, and so at this point then I want to pull my stem into the center of my leaf, but I don't want it the same color necessarily as my center of my leaf. So I'm going to come over here and side stroke a little bit of that bright green on my dark green edge, and then I can pull that in and it'll be visible. Okay, so now it looks like it's coming forward from this stem that's coming off of the front of the main stem. All right, let's do another one, and in this case I'm going to add a little bit of this daffodil yellow to my bright green. We're going to get just an even brighter color. Yellow is a great color to add to greens or reds to brighten up the color. Okay, and so here we're going to start, and this angle is going to be this way. So light edge to the outside. We're going to go out and in, out to that point and stand in, and then stand back to the chisel. All right, now I'm going to turn this so I can get at a better angle. And it helped that I added that yellow also because it made my paint just a little bit thinner. Okay, so we're going to go out to a point and in, out to a point and in, and then stand. All right, now when you come back here, you can see that we have a nice leaf, and I can just pull some of that heavier green out of the middle. All right, now these leaves also have veins that are visible. So if they don't necessarily show with the wiggles that you do, it's a good idea to just pull them with the chisel edge of your brush out to those points. Okay, so see how this one is brighter than this? There we go. So now you can see some of those veins. Like that. All right. Now I need to pull the main stem into this one here, and then I'm just going to side load some yellow on that sap edge this time. And we're going to come right from here and pull that into that center. And maybe it looks better if I do some of this veining with that yellow color. Yeah, it does. Oops, a little more. Yeah, that looks better. There we go. All right, so that's how you would do the leaves in this larger brush. Really makes that angle brush really makes that work well. Okay, so now let's get to our poinsettia itself. So I've got the 5/8 brush now that I'm going to get damp. And in this case, I want my, I'm thinking now, and let me see. Yeah, I want my outer, so my toe is going to be the light color, and my heel is going to be the berry wine. So I've got apple red and berry wine. Okay, same sort of process. So I'm going to come right next to the berry wine. I'm going to dip into apple red and stroke next to the berry wine, because I wasn't thinking and putting my colors close enough. Okay. There we go. So we're going to see how this looks. Now, if I recall, when I stroked this poinsettia, I came in later and added some dark green to shade it a little more. Okay. So the first thing you want to do is kind of lay out the pattern for your petals. And so if you do a very nice curved angle stroke like that, and cross it just like that, so it crosses at the top of the stem there. This will make for a very nice layout of your petals. So these would be 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so you're going to have one down here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to have these shorter ones back here. Okay, so that at least gives you a nice layout using that kind of loose umbrella X, and then come out from that. All right, so the first thing I want to do are these back petals. And see how these, because they're going away from you, what you want to actually do is, I'm going to pull this stroke into the center so that I get a nice tip out here and I don't have to fight that angle. Because if you try to do it this way, it doesn't look very natural. Okay, so let me show you what I mean. I'm going to come, it's a shorter petal because it's coming from the back of the flower, and the flower is slightly tipped. So I'm here on my chisel edge. I'm going to come down now so you can see a little better. All right, so I'm here on the chisel, and then I'm going to push out and then make a hard turn into the center of the flower. Okay, and then from here I can pull, oops, a little tip right there. Okay. This is a style of poinsettia, like I said. I've seen them where they're more skinnier petals, right? So here on this side, I'll show you again. So chisel, come in, then push, a little bit of a wiggle up and down, then make that hard turn, twist in your fingers into the center of the flower, okay? So that gives you that look of that petal falling over towards the back. All right, more color on the brush, and we're going to come now from here. All right, and I'm going to pull this, actually I want to turn it this way. We're going to push and lift, stand it to the chisel. A GMO produced. It could be. A lot of them are these days genetically modified. All right, and then I'm going to flip the brush over, stay on the chisel as you come out, and then push, push, stand, and twist. All right, that gives you a two-sided petal with a little bit of waving action going on the outside edges. Okay, so we'll do that again over here. Chisel, come out, then push, push, and stand. Now I wanted to come out a little further on that, but it got dry. So let me add some medium to the brush, and we'll try that again. Come out, push, push, and stand. That's better. So you're trying to balance the lengths on either side, okay? Then same thing here, you're going to push down, twist with your fingers as you stand to the chisel, gives you a nice little tip right there. Okay, now as I'm coming forward, these petals are going to get longer. Okay, so I'm on the chisel, on that line that I did. Chisel, pull it out, then push. So my light red edge goes to the upper side. Push, I'm going to do 3 on this one, and then stand it up. Okay, then we're going to come and do the other side, and on this side I'm just going to push it out once and then bring it back in and stand it up. Okay, notice that's gotten longer, but see how it's nice and narrow right in here, and you can see between the petals. I'm getting just a touch of medium. All right, and so now I want to balance on the other side. This one I'm going to come out here, and then I'm going to push it up. So I'm going to let it kind of touch that other petal, push, and then stand it up. A little more medium. And then my light red edge is going to be on the bottom of this now. Push it twice, and then roll it right there so it stands up. Okay. So far, not too hard, don't you think? This would be doable. Okay, so now we're going to do this one. I'm going to keep this one a little more narrow and longer coming forward. Might have gotten a little too long on that, but we'll see. And then here, narrow coming out, keeping it narrow, and then laying it to its side. So now we're getting more of a straight on view of that, and then roll it to the tip. So I'd like to see you guys try and practice this, maybe post a few pictures so that I know you're getting something from my demos. All right, right, let's come in here. We're going to come out on the chisel and then push down, push, and I'm bringing it forward. So a little bit of a curve now. Push and then roll it. And then we're going to have one final petal right here in the front. There. And then we'll come here. Now, red is a transparent color. You're going to see that stem from behind. So let me show you what we're going to do to remedy that. And I've got a heavy line here, so let's pull some of that in and wipe it off. Here we go. Okay, so now we have all of our petals. It's nicely laid out. You've got that tilted orientation, so it looks like some of these are in the back and they're going down. You could even come underneath and stroke a bottom edge of a petal right here, like it's coming down. I don't know if I can get that to look nice though. And yeah, and so then this part would come up and forward. So this underneath would need to be darker. All right, so now what I want to do is kind of shade in and darken some of these petals. So I've already used my berry wine as my darker color of red. So what would work to help darken that is the complementary color to red, which is green. You can come and side load on your red brush some green. This is sap green. Okay, and what you're going to do is just on the chisel edge of the brush, you can come right in here and pull in some shading, right, some darker centers on these petals, because these are usually very veined. They've got veins and things you can see in them, right? And so I'm going to come out here, right under here, and pull some of that down too, right? So that's darker. So it looks like it's underneath. We'll pull out in each of these petals. A little more green. Okay, so that works very nicely. You could use green, you could also use brown, all right? Now, the next thing I want to show you is I'm going to come here and I'm going to side load. Actually, I need just a little bit of a blue color. So I'm going to use just some, this is light blue, tiny bit of light blue. And I'm going to take the toe of my brush, I'm going to load medium on the brush, and then I'm going to medium on the brush, and then I'm going to side stroke this blue. And this is going to give you just a little bit of an icy touch to some of these petals, okay? And what I did was I came along the edge and just laid on a little bit of this icy blue. I don't know if that's going to show very well here. A little bit thicker. There we go. Okay, so just a little bit of a frosty touch to them a little. See that? So this pale blue, and it will kind of blend a little bit with the red. and give a little bit of a frosty edge, and not necessarily white because you don't want it to turn pink. Okay, so just here and there, and you can even come, let's get a little more, come along some of the leaves. Okay, so you're just kind of giving a little bit of a frosty touch to those leaves. All right, now what I want to do with this front petal here is I'm going to come and get some of this apple red now that we've put all this highlighting on here, and we can come in and streak some of the apple red on top, and that will help to kind of cover up the showing of the stem through, and it's still the natural color of the petal. See there? And then maybe get a little bit of the berry wine. So that helps raise that up. So the final thing we're going to do, I'm going to come and get some of this bright green on the handle of my brush. And we're going to come right in here and dot those stamens that sit in the center. Then I'm going to get some daffodil yellow on that same brush. And you're going to dot right over those green. Okay. And so that is our angle brush poinsettia. I did come down along the stem. Let me get just a little bit of this yellow and just kind of tap some of that yellow in there. And if you want to make the stem a little stronger, because they do grow in as like bushes down here. Up north you want to buy them in pots and you got to keep them very carefully, and down here they grow. So go figure. All right, so there you go, guys. That is an angle brush poinsettia with a couple of different leaves and a different way to do those petals that I hope will help you to create something very pretty for this holiday season.